Number 287. You create a temporary perceived limitation as a way to call to you a certain quality of experience. There's a tendency to fall into the trap of identifying yourself with the constraints you have set up from your unlimited freedom. You have created these lines upon the canvas freely, but imprison yourself when you identify with those lines. This is an illusion. You can experience anything you want throughout all dimensions of creation. And that is from the Way of Mastery. You are not behind. And if you're struggling to make a decision or find clarity, it's not because something's wrong with you. It's because it's just not yet time. I was stuck around the introduction of this book. And then I remembered I moved to Korea 9 years ago when I was first feeling the land of Korea as my body, and then seeing that it reflects all of our bodies. Like it's no accident that Korea is the only nation in the world technically still at war with itself. One side is hyper focused on success and more, like no matter the cost, all the surgery, like suicides. South Korea is intense. And then we have the North, which is trying to keep everything the same and controlled and protected because it doesn't want to be invaded. And so I feel like that's like a lot of our like nervous systems in our bodies that are just in survival or fear. Both are driven from a feeling of separation, from the earth, from our bodies, from each other. I watched videos that I had made back then. In one of the videos, I had just made a video in Korean where I explain what I do in an offering, and it was to help women consciously conceive. If they're having trouble conceiving, having miscarriages, we would look at it at the Akashic level and see if there's anything to release, how much more life affirming and healing to have the journey to open to conception be a healing for the mother instead of something that's like stressful and feels forced. And Korea has like one of the lowest rates of women getting pregnant. Like the government gives incentives because there's so few women having babies. I didn't know anyone at the time except my parents' friends. They're like, 70-year-old couple, very sweet. And so I showed it to them, and I used the word mudang, which is shaman in Korean, and they were like, yeah, maybe not use that word. And I would focus more on like how many years you've meditated and like your credentials. And I'm like, I don't really want to do that. People can feel my energy, and I don't feel like I have to like list what they were like, yeah, actually we thought of two people right away they know that are trying to get pregnant, and they're also Christian. As soon as they heard that I'm like a mudang, that they see it as low class and uneducated. What's fascinating is that's happened here too, like in the States. One of my good friends, her mom loved me. And when she told her mom that I did like psychic readings, her mom was like, oh, I wish you didn't tell me that, because she couldn't respect me anymore because she doesn't believe in it. On one hand, I don't care what I call myself. I'm not attached to any labels. Like that just feels what's most accurate to me. But like whatever I need to do to reach the people that I'm here to help. But on the other hand, my mom's friend said something to me like, oh my gosh, I was like so excited to introduce you to all my friends and their kids because like you're so pretty and smart, good natured, but don't talk about that spiritual stuff. And I'm like, shamans were at one time like revered, like in all indigenous cultures. And then through different periods of colonization, they were relegated to lower class. They were even imprisoned and massacred. It's like the witches. My parents' friends were like, yeah, you just don't look like the type. And I'm like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? Like, we're all connected to spirit. And suddenly I felt like, no, it's actually really important that I claim this spiritual aspect of who I am in my work because it has been devalued. And this is the root of all of the suffering in this world right now. It's like this disconnection from the source. I felt really strongly about that, but unfortunately, I don't think I ever released the video. I was reading Plotkin's book about soul descent, and he was talking about Carl Jung, how when Carl Jung went through his descent, it was catalyzed by his break from Freud. And one of the main reasons for the break was that Freud did not believe in like spirits and ghosts. And as Jung went more and more into his descent, releasing his old identity and opening to something that's not under his control, he felt like compelled to share what was coming through, even though he knew he would be ridiculed by and ostracized from like the psychological societies of the time. But in doing so, he became fully who he came here to be. He fully sang his song, and like Jung is still revered and his work still used more than most any other psychologist. But it took him being willing to stand for what was true in spite of how it might be ridiculed. It was just so validating for me to read that, because yeah, this devaluing of spirit, we need to take a stand for it. I want to take a stand for that. This amazing herbal workshop the other day, led by Crystal Woodling, who taught Gaia, an online course I took a few years ago where we commune with 7 different crystal and plant allies. And she's this like wonderful, warm, wise woman, storyteller. She's got a great sense of humor. And so it was just so wild that she was at this local event. It was great. It was like a beautiful summer day, and there was a good turnout, like 10 or 12 people. And Crystal started telling the story about Willow. But in order to get to Willow, she was essentially telling like the story of civilization, like from Sumer. And I was familiar with all of it. I think I was probably the only other person there that was like, at some point she like, has anyone heard of totalitarian agriculture? Hecate? I was like, yep. And no one else raised their hands. But I was like so for it. And she told this story in such a rich and full way. She realized she was running out of time. She was like, oh, I don't know what I was thinking, that I would be able to tell the stories of these 5 plants. And I remember thinking, gosh, if she had decided to be more general or like dumb down what she was sharing to fit what most people might have expected or been more comfortable with, I would have felt so robbed. I could have listened to her for hours. It was a reminder for me, like, to never dilute my message or be discouraged by the fact that some people might not get it, because the people that do will be so fucking grateful to be met exactly the same way I feel when someone is like fully themselves.